Hi, my name is Dave Erschatz. I'm a Senior Tech Lead at CENGN, and I'd like to take you through a demo that we did at the OPNFV Summit in Beijing. We're going to deploy an OPNFV scenario, which is Kubernetes on bare metal, and then we're going to manually deploy a vIMS, VNF on top of it. The OPNFV deployer that we're using is the JOID deployer. Now, generally deployers are deployed on one of 6 systems in a pod that will power, control, and PXE boot operating systems onto the remaining 5 systems, which we're seeing done right here. And then the deployer will deploy on the scenario, which in this case is Kubernetes. And once that's completed, we're going to manually install the Clearwater vIMS VNF. So let's do a hands-on demonstration. The top left window that you see will be the CLI for the JOID deployer, and we'll kick that off with a Kubernetes scenario. On the right-hand side, we see the canonical mass being controlled by the JOID deployer, and it will PXE boot and deploy the operating systems onto that bare metal. Mass will bootstrap with the canonical orchestrator, which is Juju, which we're now taking a look at in the center window, the status of, and it's showing the same status as what we see in mass. Now, once that's all been done, then control goes over to Juju that deploys the Kubernetes scenario, which is Kubernetes on the bare metal. So now we have that. In the lower left window, we'll install the IVMS, but while we're manually testing this, we've enabled the Kubernetes GUI, which you see on the right. And in that GUI, the important part for now for this demo is we're going to take a look at the pods that have been deployed by JOID. So this is the base set of pods. And we can also show these pods using the Kubernetes CLI in the center window. They should show the same Kubernetes pods as what you see in the GUI, and they do. Now, on top of this, we're going to use the lower left window to run the Kubernetes CLI and manually install the Clearwater vIMS pods. They're all in the orange, the darker orange in the diagram, and you'll see them like Ellis, Homer, Bono as pods that are added in addition to the JOID-deployed base pods for the scenario. You'll also see them in the GUI. And the IVMS actually has its own GUI, so we can locate that. And I've set up SSH tunnels to my laptop that allow us to hook into that Kubernetes Ellis node through that port, and we can create a Clearwater user and see the SIP that was deployed for it. So there we saw Kubernetes was working. Now let's destroy it, which you would need to do in a development workflow, so that this demo will show that as well. We can destroy it manually using the Kubernetes CLI, and here you're seeing it slowly disappear. And the reason why it's disappearing slowly is those pods are set up to gracefully shut down, which is good for scale up and scale down for more advanced uses later. And this is in real time, so you get a sense to see the speed of this. Now we've destroyed it, so the IVMS GUI doesn't work anymore, but the Kubernetes GUI still does work. So let's build it back. The user that we created shouldn't be there anymore. And you'll notice that since this was built once already, it's going to build again quite quickly because the images for each of the containers is already downloaded onto the deployer system on the jump host. So that built real fast. Here we're looking at the IVMS GUI. This user shouldn't exist, and it doesn't. But we can go ahead and create a brand new one. And when we do it this time, let's go a little further, see if we can create a second SIP and reset the password. So we were able to create a new user on a fresh deployment, and again here we see we were able to create a second SIP. Now let's reset that password, and there you see the password was able to be changed. So we've been able to reuse the pod deployment to do this. The hardware vendors of CENGN pods get their hardware vetted against OPNFV scenarios and testing. If CENGN finds issues with the hardware, we work directly with the vendor to resolve the issues, and that's the equivalent of solving the issues directly upstream. CENGN students also become familiar with vendor hardware through OPNFV and CENGN student programs. There's potential for further exposure to the vendor's hardware by CENGN's SMEs, members, and partners through CENGN projects. Thank you.